you're under the age of 18, you need to realize right now you are in a golden opportunity. You have a limited window to optimize not only your height, not only your facial attractiveness, but ultimately create the blueprint that will determine how you look for the rest of your life. And you can only alter this and you can only maximize this whilst you still are in the key window of development, that is puberty. I was fortunate enough to realize this truth at age 15, and what I implemented allowed me to grow to what I'm at now at 6'5" at 20, while also maximizing and optimizing my genetic traits to the best ability I could, considering I made major changes and completely turned my health and life around only at the age of 15. Most teenagers believe that growth is automatic, predetermined, and ultimately comes down to luck. Because of this narrow view, they decide to eat a diet of processed foods, sugars, grains, industrialized slop, just empty calories every single day, assuming that's normal. The results of this poor diet are obviously teenagers today are shorter, fatter, worse developed than ever before. Almost all teenagers need braces. Despite it being right in our faces, people still have the ignorance to think it's just a factor of bad luck or chance. My name is Mason, and I was in the very shoes of this typical teenager today. At age 15, I was average in height, average in looks, below average in health. And as I was currently growing and progressing, I wasn't going to be anything exceptional in terms of physical development. It wasn't until I got started on the raw animal-based diet at age 15 that I saw my physical development completely transform. Obviously now at age 20, I'm not some kind of supermodel. I definitely look better than I was going to look if I didn't get on this diet. And you can't deny the fact that I've got clear skin, I've got healthy hair, all of my health indicators are on point. And all of this stuff is simply the result of optimizing my health young. I truly know this stuff works because my dad is only 6 foot, my older brother is 6'1", yet I'm 6'5" and still growing at the age of 20. As well as the fact that I've helped hundreds of members inside my community all achieve the same great results. So in the next few minutes, I want to break down everything you guys need to know about starting the raw animal-based diet in order to maximize your puberty whilst you're still in this key, albeit limited window of development. So yeah, let's get right into it. The big idea is that physical development in humans is determined by your nutritional building blocks and your hormonal inputs. So it's simply not a case of just eating more. It's about eating nutrient-dense, high-quality foods that give your body not only the building blocks for synthesizing new bone growth, but also the building blocks to create the hormones to send the signals to cause the bone growth. So all of these nutrients are what we find in great abundance in the raw foods. Obviously, cholesterol for hormone synthesis for testosterone and DHT, all of the fat-soluble vitamins that are going to regulate your skeletal development, all of the bioavailable minerals that are also going to be required, and then complete amino acids for healthy collagen, connective tissue, and muscle formation. With these correct building blocks, you're going to be able to release adequate growth hormone in your deep sleep. Growth plates can be far less likely to close prematurely due to a lower estrogen dominance in the body, and you won't be in any kind of nutritional deficiency, so your bones will grow as you're meant to and you won't be malformed. These are all benefits that the modern diet simply won't give you guys. Processed foods are going to create inflammation. They're going to be driving insulin spikes without actually getting any good nutrients into your body, and it will put you in a chronically stressed high cortisol state, which will ultimately leave your bones prone to closing and fusing earlier. So when your body's in this kind of survival state and literally your body is getting so little nutrients that it needs to preserve them as much as possible, the last thing that it wants to consider is developing your height, your face, or your frame. Okay then, so I've told you why you need to be eating these foods over processed foods, but I haven't actually answered the question, what is the raw primal diet? Effectively, it more or less is what it sounds like. It's a diet built around the staples of raw animal-based foods. So raw meats, raw dairy, raw eggs, raw organ meats, and then some more supportive foods of some fruits, honey, and limited raw vegetables. All these foods obviously are going to be providing the complete building blocks for physical development, and the reason why we'd want to be choosing the raw foods versus having them in their cooked form is because the cooking process is going to be inherently destructive. So heat, if you don't know, when you actually cook a steak, when you pasteurize dairy, you are going to be cauterizing the minerals, oxidizing the fats, folding the proteins, making all of the nutrients far less bioavailable. And then on top of that, because you're destroying the bacteria and enzymes which aid in the digestive process, you're going to make your body have to exert itself far more to actually derive the nutrients out of the food. The consequence of which will be impaired energy, sleep, the body being in a higher cortisol state, and ultimately long-term, far less bone growth. You can literally think of this diet as the most nutrient-dense, most evolutionarily consistent diet on the planet. So when a teenager actually gets on this diet, the benefits they see are immense. By fact of not getting in any of the mutilated nutrients or any toxins from the cooking process, your hormones are going to be on point, your nutrient reserves will be on point, and then you can even focus on some stimulating foods, which I'll touch on a little bit later, to increase your growth even more and actually surpass your genetic potential. Some of these key foods will be raw dairy, so raw milk, raw colostrum, raw unsalted cheese, raw unsalted butter, raw cream, all of these things from unpasteurized, unhomogenized dairy that will give you all of the necessary building blocks in the form of the fat-soluble vitamins and minerals on top of like actual growth signaling factors that will prompt more bone growth. So if, for example, you do want to max out your height as much as possible, you'd get on all of the raw foods. And then what you'd also do is drink a lot of unrefrigerated raw milk and fresh raw colostrum, especially before bed. So you are going to be getting the growth hormone into your gut, absorbed into your bloodstream during the key window where new birth formation is actually going to be occurring. We can look at any populations around the world, not even just looking at myself, but like the Maasai, the Mongols, the South Sudanese Dinka, all of these populations had a big priority on raw milk, especially during development, and they had average heights easily above 6 foot, which you can't really say the same but anywhere else around the world. Another great staple to get all of the necessary building blocks will be eating a ton of raw eggs. Obviously, quality with all of the raw foods goes without saying, needs to be on point. So for eggs, they should be pasture raised, ideally unrefrigerated. You're going to be getting a ton of great fat soluble vitamins from the yolk. Cholesterol, obviously, this will support all of the necessary hormones that you need to develop. So I'd recommend start the day with 3, have some raw eggs before bed, schlonk raw eggs all throughout the day. It's going to be many times better than just cooking your eggs. And then the actual main staple component of the raw animal-based diet is going to be actually eating the raw meat. So eating raw beef, raw lamb, raw game meat. So if you're in Australia, you can eat some raw kangaroo, you can eat some bison, you can eat some deer, raw seafood, raw chicken. Obviously, it's got to be really high quality, but all of these foods will give you a ton of the building blocks and can make up the bulk of your diet. If you are getting really fresh or like freshly hunted raw meat, it will still have very active stem cells in the meat, as well as some bioactive peptides that can help to prompt your growth even further. Another great benefit of eating all of the raw meats is that they do contain natural water content, which is going to help to hydrate and lubricate your joints and connective tissue. So if you are someone who has like really tight hamstrings, for example, you can't touch your toes, you feel very stiff in the morning, this is a factor that is going to be restricting your bone growth and the degree to which your bones can lengthen. When you get on the raw foods, naturally your body does limber up and loosen up quite a bit. What would also be super great is to focus on some organ meats and some specific seafood combinations. The organ meats, most nutrient dense foods on the planet, always get it from grass-fed, never vaccinated, never fed antibiotic sources. But you can really treat these as your natural bioavailable supplements in that they will make sure you have a topped up amount of all of the nutrients you actually need. So eating some brain, some liver, some heart, even testicles, bone marrow, a lot of oysters, any kind of raw shellfish, all be really great. So yeah, to give you guys a bit of a day in the life of eating, how you should actually go through and eat day to day, I'd recommend you start out the day with a protein and fat heavy meal. So a bit of like a steak tartare, for example. You can add in a little bit of raw royal jelly. It can be really great for reducing the estrogen dominance around your growth plates, keeping your growth plates open longer. With that tartare, you can add some egg yolks, you can add some bone marrow, you can have some organ meats as well on the side. And this should be your biggest meal of the day. You really want to get in all of these fats and all of these nutrients at the start of the day to signal to your body to create and synthesize all of the hormones you need, even for sleep the following night. Later in the day, to stay hydrated, you can sip some raw milk, you can have a little bit of fresh raw celery juice or carrot juice, or even if you have good access to it, you can get some high quality blood. If you're in summer, you can have some fruit in the middle of the day, eat it outside, get full grounded on the earth and have a little bit of fresh, local, obviously organic fruit. And then for like your late lunch, dinner meal, I'd recommend just having another big meat meal. If you had red meat in the morning, I'd recommend you mix it up, have some white meat, so some seafood, and then before bed, have some more raw milk, have some colostrum, have another quarter teaspoon of some raw royal jelly. This is just a bit of a rough overview of one of the diets you could possibly have. It can get a lot more advanced. You can add in more formulas and more protocols to help support your body in different areas, but just as a basic staple, any of the raw animal-based foods, as long as they're sourced to a high quality, will help you far more than what you're currently eating. So yeah, I also can't emphasize more than enough, you need to focus on sourcing high quality meat. You need to be getting it fresh, never frozen. You need to really trust your butcher and making sure it's not exposed to or contaminated with any plastic, any like chemical cleaners that could actually put you in jeopardy of actual food poisoning. Once you actually get this stuff sorted, then you can trust this is the best diet to actually be on. If for whatever reason you are worried about like the taste of your meals, I assure you can prepare it in a way where it's like literally restaurant quality. You can make a steak tartare. You can prepare it with a little bit of onion, a little bit of tomato, a little bit of cucumber. Any of these plant foods, although they do have a level of plant defense chemicals, are going to be okay in these smaller amounts. Literally the effects will be negligible and they will mean that the meals will be more appetizing for you. You'll be able to eat more of them, so you will be getting more of what's actually beneficial in your body, which is the most important thing. But no, I mean, you get on this diet 1 to 2 weeks, 3 weeks even, you just get a bit of a taste for the raw meat, you get your natural taste buds back. You'll be able to eat this stuff on its own completely fine, and you'll actually really love and enjoy it, and you won't feel like ever going back. This is like my own testimony, but also anyone else who gets on the raw foods, they'll tell you it genuinely does become addicting. So yeah guys, that's everything I wanted to give you, just a bit of an introduction into the raw animal-based diet, which is the best diet, not only for your health, but also for maximizing your puberty. It's what allowed me to grow to 6'5", which has genuinely changed my life. Like, I mean, I'm not short, so I can't necessarily say what it's like to be short. The amount of confidence, ease, and opportunity opportunity that I get simply because of my height, maybe while traveling, maybe with the opposite sex, really is something that I don't think I would want to live without. So I'm really grateful that I did find all this stuff at 15. And if you are in this window of development, I would urge yourself to maybe use a little bit of critical thinking and think about what you want your future to look like. And if maybe you're happy with the path you're on, then stay on it. By all means, do what's best for you. But if you think you want to change something up because you do want a better outcome by the time you are 20, 25, whatever, then take the action and change something up. If you guys do want more support, more guides, and want my full complete puberty maximization guide, as well as my sourcing guides and my beginner friendly guide to easing into and starting the raw meat and raw animal-based diet completely safely, then I recommend you check out the first link in the description of this video. That's going to give you access to my course and community. In there, all the courses, all the guides, we do weekly calls, and you also get one-on-one message access to myself. So if you do need a little bit of personalized support, you can ask me in there, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out. Guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe so more people can see this and I can spread this message, because genuinely I think more young teenagers need to know this. Or not, don't do it. You can gatekeep it, whatever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video maybe. But yeah, enjoy your day.